Yeah, we are live. All right. Good night, folks. How are you? My name is Doug. I am the resident video editor and host. I'm also the brains, or rather lack thereof, for the silent film restoration channel. So I'm glad you joined me tonight. Um, I was looking for a film earlier in the day, something that I could work on and restore, and one that wouldn't take too much time. Um, and I was perusing the Library of Congress's website and noted this film right here, Ambrose's Nasty Temper. It's a uh, film from Mack Sennett's production company, and I thought it would be a good option for going through for the first time on a live restoration. Um, so what I usually do is, when I take a film, and again, I'm working from digital prints. I'm still fairly new at the game and don't really have the funds, like some other folks do, who are actually working with film. So what I seek to do is find digital prints, the best quality digital prints that I can, come across, and work with those. As you can see here, this print is it's a 1080p, 1440 by 1080p print from the Library of Congress, and I've got it laid out on my editor. What I'd like to do when I have a film is I will go ahead and just kind of sift through it, just kind of get a feel for the film. As you can see with this one right here, it's very washed out. They did a great job of digitizing the film as a 1080 print, but they didn't adjust any of the colors that went with it. So that's what we're going to do here tonight. We're going to take and adjust the colors. Um, this film, luckily, and one of the reasons I picked it is because it does have a pretty even look all throughout the film. All the shots or reels, basically were, the same. I'm thinking this is probably a two-reel film, possibly a one. But all the shots look pretty much the same. So applying one filter should do the trick. Across the entire film. And then, some individual shots might be a little bit lighter than others and might have to be tweaked a little bit more. So I will go ahead and do that as we go through. So first thing, what I've done when I put the film on my timeline, um, my video one bar is the actual film, the full frame. I'll go ahead and delete that so you can see it or make it visible. And then I also take the same film or same footage and copy it to the other bar, just so I can get a feel for it there as well. I go ahead and I decrease the size down to 50%. And I also, move the position so that I can see if I need to do a side-by-side comparison. It's easy enough just to change um, the size of this one here, just so it can match, and then I can kind of scrub between and then check, the original source file versus, the edit that I've made to kind of see how it looks. All right. So to get started with this one here, I am going to, when films like this, when they're washed out like this, I've usually found that it's good to add a gamma correction first. Um, Gamma, when you're adjusting the gamma, it kind of adjusts or it tweaks the relationship between the light and the dark, the black and the white. So that's a little too much. I'm going to try 15. Okay. 15 still leaves some of those lights in there, and it's got the darks down. 16 is a little too dark, so I'm going to leave that set for 15. All right. And I'm actually going to decrease it here so I can see the change that it made. All right. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do on here, actually while I'm at it, let me throw a little bit of a sharpening filter I'm going to set this first for 30. And I'm going to even so I can see the two side by side and see the effect. Already you can see an improvement in the image just between that gamma correction, and I believe the sharpening is shining through a little bit to kind of pop that detail, especially there as she came around the corner. You can see here how it's a little unsharp, and then here how it is sharper. I'm actually going to up that just a little bit. Let's try 55, see what happens. Sometimes when you over sharpen, you will start to see some digital grain, and usually you'll see it first around the edges of moving objects. I'm not really seeing anything there. So I think I'm going to leave this as is for now, set for 55. Let me take a look up here. Yeah, here's a good shot, real close-up shot. So this will be a good telltale. Yeah, see right there, you can really tell the difference in the shot clarity. It's just a little bit sharper. Look around the brim of the hat, how that's separated out. See in this region here, kind of look at the spots that I'm looking at. You can see a little bit here where it's pulling that detail out and making him pop a little bit more from the background. It'll pop a little bit more once we get some filters on. And the next one that I'm going to use, now that I'm happy with the sharpening and the gamma correction, I'm going to choose the Lumetri filter. I think it's Lumetri, might even be Lumetri. I don't know what they call it. But you've got the ability to grab in here and then curve the lightness and darkness of a particular point. You can drag one down, drag one up. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the black level down just a little bit, see if I can get a little bit more definition in this darker region here. So this is going to adjust that black level. So as you see right there, and I'll turn the effect off and on, you can really see the darkness, the more richness of that brown pop in. So next thing I'm going to choose maybe around here. And bring this whites just a little. Now I'm kind of looking up in his shoulder region here, trying to get this to pop a little bit more against that background. Right. And let me go ahead and make life a little bit easier. And make this full screen. Go back down. There we go. It's actually a little bit better right there. Like the warm. See, going up it's warmer, and then going cooler in temperature as you go below that separation line. So like a little bit of warmth on that white. Pull this down just a hair. Okay, so we got that. Let me go ahead and visualize it next to the other file. And I want to watch just a little bit here. So that's good. You can really see the shadows here. Really looking pretty good. And then you still got some good highlights on there. So basically what we're undoing is all these years of haze that have built up on that footage. There's nice comparison there. Last thing I'm going to do now that I've got that curve set pretty good, I'm going to adjust the highlight, midtone, and shadow color wheel. So let's see. First things first, I'm going to pull that dark down, and what you should have just seen, look at his pants, look under the bed. I'll do that one more time. I just undid the filter. And see those darkening right now. I'll pull that down around there, just to add a little bit more depth to that image. Also pull the midtones down just a hair. And white looks a bit bright, so I'm going to tone that down a little bit. I can also go to the basic correction, and I can adjust my whites here. So basically right now I'm kind of looking at his arm, trying not to get it to glow as much. Do a full screen. We'll go side by side, and we'll take a look at this little edit. So look at the comparison now between original film as digitized by the Library of Congress, and then just what these three filters are able to do to that footage. Bring back all that clarity and depth. So I am pretty happy with that. Go around to a couple other spots in the film. Oh, here we go. Seamlessly. Let's check the difference on this one. Yeah, much better. Okay. Now that I'm pretty happy with this. So now that I've got that where I like it, I'm going to go ahead and go back to full screen. And what I can always do is tweak it a little bit, as I go. Like I said, from shot to shot, I can adjust the brightness and adjust the curve just a little bit for some shots. Like this one, the white's a little bit too bright, so I will probably pull that down a little bit later on when I go to fine tune everything. Same thing for this. This shot's a little dark, but I'll fix that later on. Right now, I'm just kind of giving an overview of how things are done. It takes a while at this step, and then when you're going through all the footage at the end, it takes a while to really get things going. So now the next step I take when I'm restoring a film is I will chop up the shots or divide the film by shot. So for this task is a bit mundane at times. You've got to alternate going in and out on the timeline, scrubbing through the video, finding where the transitions are, and then making a cut point. This is what allows you to actually go in on each individual scene and adjust the image on each scene. Okay, so actually, interesting point on this first frame of this scene. There's actually a splice mark. So I generally like to take those out. All right, look over here. Just eliminate that one frame. And we'll pull it back. So now it has a nice smooth cut. You can also see there is some jumping in the image. See right there. Once I make a couple more cuts, I'll go back and show you one of the best tools for. There's another splice mark for editors like myself who like to restore these things. Eliminate that one frame. Okay. There's another one. So it looks like this film's pretty much got one frame at each shot, um, or each. Oops, this is actually two frames on this guy. Unless I drag that back, there we go. So there's going to be a 1 to 2 frame shot carryover where that splice line is, depending on where. In fact, you can see one down here. Pull that back, pull that back. Let's see, now we go directly to that shot. And this one they did a good job on. There's not a visible splice. We'll just make that cut. Nice close-up shot there. There's another splice mark right there. And I think at this point I will go back to the beginning and show you some other adjustments. This one's going to have 2 splices. All right, so we got the first minute of the film working out, and you see there's probably about 10 different shots or images. All right, so let's see, let's take a look. All right, see here you can see a lot of movement, side to side, jittery. That's in the title card. So what I'm going to do on that is I'm going to throw, where's my distort? There it is. I'm going to throw a warp stabilizer on that. Okay, with the warp stabilizer, let me close this. All right, so I'm going to crop. Good, so now there's just minimal movement right towards the beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to compare that with the original shot. We do a couple other shots first. That way, oops, adjustment, 1080. Yeah, see this one too. You can see a lot. Okay, 50, 1080. Throw a warp stabilizer on there. I remember, yeah, there's a lot on here. So we'll throw a warp on that one. Yeah, a lot on that one. Probably most of the you can see some up and down there. So I'll do one in there. Most of the shots in this film, I believe, are probably going to need one. So 1080. And this one we will do 50, 1080. And same thing here. 50, 1080. All right, so that's like the first 30 seconds or so. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to review that, and we'll see the original file versus the edits that I've made. how it's looking so far. And we should obviously be able to see the image, quality, the improvement. Still have to, do some tweaking to this, but you got improved image quality, and also there's going to be an improvement in the stabilization of the image. So let's go. Yeah, so you can look closely and see how that's moving with the other one steady. And same thing here. There's a big improvement in this shot. That's great. Same thing here. So, all right, so that looked pretty good. That last shot, let me change the experiment. Sometimes you need to change the type. Since this one had a little bit of movement, I was noticing that the subspace warp was a little bit off. So I'm going to try a positional stabilizer, and we'll see if it improves. I was looking up in this corner and I noticed some imperfection. Yeah, that looks better. So I'll play it again. If you look next to his head in this region right here, um, we're seeing the background do a little bit of movement. I'll point to it here. Yep, see right here. So that's what caught my eye. And just by adjusting the from a subspace to a positional warp, or to a positional stabilizer, it eliminated all that jitter. And a lot of times that's caused by side to side movement. Um, a lot of these things you've got to adjust. So looking pretty good. I got the this first minute going pretty good. I'm going to work on adjusting these shots a little bit. Try and get everything to a spot where I'm happy before I move on. And let's see here. So what's this going to look like? Get rid of that. I'm going to actually take the shadows down, take the midtone down, and reset that. Actually, you know what? For this one, because I'm still seeing some color aberrations, I'm going to choose a black and white filter. Let's look at this. This will make this one a little bit nicer. So actually, I'm going to delete this effect from this. And I'm going to choose black and white. There we go. Now I'm going to throw that battery back on. Tip that black. See, get that black all the way down. And bump up the highlight. Leave that around there. And let me see if I can boost those white levels just a little bit. There we go. Try a little bit more. I don't want to go too high or else I'm start causing some issues, but there we go. So you take that and compare it with the original, and you'll really start to see the difference now. So there we go. Look at that. All right, we're going to do the same thing with the second title. Delete the existing imagery. And I'm going to add black and white. I'm going to redo the imagery. Got my black level. Boost the highlight. I think I went up a little bit with that just to make it not too black. And I think this was around 15. Do the same thing. There we go. I might up that black just a little bit. You can see a little bit in the lettering here, where it's a little bit thinner. I think because the black level's a lot lower. So let me pull the shadow up just here. See if that does anything. But there we go. Yeah, see, that does affect a little bit. So let me pull that around here. Then actually, my midtones, I'm still getting about the same issue. Use my blacks here. It's doing about the same. So I can actually pull the black level down here as well. There we go. Just get a little bit darker. Those letters pop just a little bit more. Nice. Okay, let's go over to the first scene here. And now that I'm looking at these shots, although I think my adjustments earlier were a little bit later in the film, adjust this black level of just a hair. There, and I'm actually going to adjust it here as well for this shot. And let me pump up the highlight just a little. All right, let me take a look at this shot. That looked pretty good. Still could use a little bit more. I'm still a little bit more definition in that sequence there. Drop the shadow. Tune up just slightly. And I want to revert this back so I can see it full screen. How's that? Okay. Back full screen. Looks clear. Just ever so slightly dark down there. Let me see if I can adjust the contrast light. Oops. Well, that's the one thing you gotta be careful with, is to make sure that you're applying your effect to the right clip. I'm not sure if I like that or if I want to move it here. Move that up slightly. And we will pull this down. And let me take a look at it now. It's a little bit better. Just trying to get a little bit more separation in this area. Kind of pops them out a little bit more. In fact, you can see this next shot here. See how the background is real dark brown, where this one I've now made it like a lighter brown. Just helps the overall image. And now that I made this adjustment here, I'm going to copy this effect. Let me see. So what I did there is I copied the effect from the other one, and I took and I turned off the filter on this shot. And I'm going to paste that other one here. So that way, from shot to shot, you can still see um, the same. The color depth is the same from shot to shot. Just trying to match it up as best as possible. And this one will probably end up being the same treatment. Go ahead and turn off the original edit. There we go. So just so you can see the Side by side. Let me do a screen grab at this. And then let me turn it off and then turn on the original effect I had made. And it's a little bit hard to tell between the two. Definitely I see his suit is darker in the original effect versus this one. Um, the wall was also I guess a deeper, richer brown. Where this one's like a lighter brownish gray. I almost kind of like that, but I'd have to see. So this is part of the difficulty when you're restoring a film. You kind of come up with one look, and then you adjust it ever so slightly. Okay, well that's actually the shot that the snipping tool took is a little bit more gray than the actual effect, so that's actually good to know. So I feel a little bit better seeing those browns in there. They're not quite as deep and rich as that, but the image is much clearer. All right, could be the same thing up there here. Just compose a shot. Yep, same thing. I'm going to turn off the imagery. And yes, then I have to copy it from here, paste it there. There we go. And that's looking pretty good. I love this film. I had a little chuckle earlier in the day when I was looking for a film, and that very first sequence with the boss sitting there, smoking a cigarette with a no smoking sign in the background. And then this one right here reminds me of life. If you want to know who the boss is around here, start something. That's so true. All right. All right, same thing from here. So basically, what I'm going to do, since I had a nice look over here, I'm going to copy this tree and apply it here. And I also need to black and white. Get too many things open. Channel contrast. Should be down here. Image control. There we go. Black and white. Okay. And you can see how that black and white filter helps. You can still see some of the reddish brown underneath when it's off, but when you turn that filter on, it turns everything to pure black and pure white. So shot here. Let's save this point. Yeah, it needs to be pulled down ever so slightly. There we go. And same thing with these shots here. I can still see a good bit of camera movement. Either camera movement or film through the film gate when they were digitizing it. So I'm going to put more stabilizers on these shots. Well, that's going to be a nice one right there. I might do that shot slightly different. Okay, so let's go for the back. I think we need to apply our stabilizer here. Shots. Let's see. Yeah, this one too will need it. You would think that it might be easy just to apply the stabilizer to the whole entire film as a whole, but it really isn't because it adjusts shot by shot. And what you'll get a lot of times if you apply it to The film as a whole is the film will end up jumping around even more because it's stabilizing for this shot, but then when it goes to this next shot, it adjusts that stabilization based upon the prior shot as well. So that's another reason why you really have to go into here and um, break up the movie into each individual shot. All right, and it looks like the stabilizers are all done. I see a little bit of movement there. Let me take a look. Yeah, I think that's the warp in the background. Some space warp. So I'm going to try position on that one. Oops, actually applied it to the wrong clip. And now we're going to go here, do position. And we'll see if we get the same effect we did earlier. Yeah, you can see a little bit of jiggling in the film. That's actually probably more noticeable. Let me see. It's interesting. There's something that's causing that. It might be his movement closer to the camera. Yeah, see how it happens right as he comes up. So you can see that the technology is not always your friend. I'm going to leave it as now and revisit that later. I might cut that effect off of that shot. Okay, so these are good here. There's some odd movement at the beginning of this. Let's see what's causing that. Okay, it does look like just camera movement. That look like. And maybe, oops, let me try to do it by position. See if that helps. Yeah, that lessened it. The effect was more prominent, or that movement was more prominent earlier, so you get a little bit of it at the end of the shot, but I think it's okay there. This close up, I'm gonna see, because that one I'm probably gonna drop that black level, get more of a silhouette there. I guess a vignette. That's a all right. I see another splice mark right up here, so take it and eliminate that. Okay. And you see on this shot the little hairs and grains and things like that. I really actually, it looks like a odd film like still at the end because see how it's still there for a couple of frames. Might actually cut that right there. Let's see what happens. Yeah. All right. Let's go here in on this one. So we need to lighten up that little and then that. So now what I want to do is I'm going to try and drop the black level uh, around him. There we go. Look at that. Really makes that pop. You can pull up the bright a little bit. And the midtone just a hair too. So what we did there, I don't want to undo that because I'm enjoying the look of that there. But we lowered the black level to kind of pull down the black right here, so that it was more pure black instead of like the brown. and it really um, makes the image in the circle pop. What's he do? He puts a cigarette in backwards. These crazy screwball. I guess this is more slapstick. Screwballs were later on. So well, that gets me about a minute and a half into the film, and you can still see the film's a little over 16 minutes. So this is going to take quite a while. Been streaming now for a little over 40 minutes, so I think I'm going to call it a day. But I will go ahead and run the film through real quick so you can see what we've got thus far. A farce comedy. That's the olden days. Hell of a mustache right there. Yeah, a little bit of movement still on that. I have to revisit that, but might be the best that the stabilizer can do. My shot might look a little bit better without stabilization. I'll compare it later. Same thing with that one, actually. I don't recall adjusting that one, so I want to look at that one real quick. Let me see. All right, and let me look at the position on that one. See if that makes any difference. Yeah, motion is not quite as bad as towards the end. Wobbly. And sometimes there's only so much that the filters and effects can do. You're just kind of stuck due to the age of these films. All right. Well, you said about a minute and a half in. Still got 14 and a half minutes to go. So I will leave it as is for the night. I'm glad you joined me for this first ever restoration live stream. I hope to do more of these in the future. I have fun. This is a fun hobby for me, and it's just kind of a little bit of relaxation time away from the family and away from all the stresses of the day. So, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time here at the Silent Film Restoration Channel. Good night.